Welcome to another program, another show. We have a guest today who really doesn't need an introduction, but I'm going to give you one anyway because he's a big cheese in the trop rock world. I'm sure he wouldn't tell you that, but I will. And so let me tell you a little bit about Suny Jim White. And hey, anybody out there that's on the live show, give us a like, give us a comment, say hi to Suny, ask a question if you can. For those that don't know Suny, I mean, he's a trop rock legend. He's one of the founders of the modern trop rock movement. And here's a couple of things maybe you don't know. He calls up sea breezes, palm trees, sandy beaches, and good tropical vibes with his music, if you're not familiar with it. He's all over YouTube, obviously, and other social media and streaming, music streaming software. But audiences end up dancing in the conga lines and moving up to up-tempo rhythms of his original music. And it's kind of a blend of influences that range from Caribbean to California to by way of Texas, which we'll get into. And already a gifted guitar player and vocalist. He came to the Cayman Islands in 1988 and taught himself how to play the steel drum to elevate his solo performances. And so he's been around the scene for a long time. I don't really want to read more of the bio because I actually use some of it for my questions and try to get into more specificity with that. But Jim, you've been all over the world, literally. You got fans in Europe, here in the islands, everywhere. You've played before tens of thousands of people, if not hundreds of thousands, over your time in music. You've received critically acclaimed awards and accolades from all over the place, all kinds of associations, and published 11 albums, which is a pretty huge achievement for any songwriter. So tell me about your childhood, Jim, growing up in California and then in Texas. You know, what was the scene like in L.A. in the 1960s? Take us back.
I don't go that far back to L.A., but I was born in Texas, in San Antonio, deep in the heart of Texas. And my dad worked for Gulf Oil, so when I was about 12 years old, he got transferred out to Bakersfield, California, which, if you look at the map, is north of LA area about 110 miles. And it's actually further west, but it's in the middle of that San Joaquin Valley. And my first musical memories as a kid were of Texas swing music, that my parents would go out, you know, to a barbecue joint or something, meet up with friends, and there'd be, you know, Bob Wills and the Texas Playboys kind of Texas swing music. And so that's my first live music memory, that and church, of course. Then when we moved to California, that's about when I started playing guitar, and I was about 12 at that time. And so I was listening to everything that was going on the radio. And back in those days, there were you'd get national stuff, hearing music from all over, but mainly it was California stuff. It was Jackson Browne, then the Eagles, and you know, just the California-based people, the Grateful Dead, Jefferson Airplane. And so that started. Wagons and Messina was another big influence on me, and it was typically, for California, it was the era of the singer-songwriters through the 70s. And that's really what captured my ear. I heard John Prine when I was probably a junior in high school, and that changed my world. I wanted to write songs after hearing John Prine. Cool footnote, later, after college, I moved to Nashville, and I met John Prine. I got to run sound for him a few times over at the Bluebird Cafe, and really, really nice man, and just a genius songwriter, and really good guy. So
do you think he was, that as a good segue to my next question, I mean, you know, who inspired you in particular to become a guitarist? Was it him? Was it somebody else? Was it a group of people?
You know, it was a group of people, and I like music based on individual songs, really. I mean, I like songs from pretty much every genre, but guitar players, of course, you can't grow up in the 60s and not be a Jimi Hendrix fan, right? And there were other people. Acoustic guitar, my brother brought home from college when we were still in California. He brought home Leo Kottke. And I don't know if you're familiar with Leo Kottke,
No.
but he's a finger-style guitar picker. And like you would think of Chet Atkins. But Leo Kottke was just amazing that somebody could play an acoustic guitar like that. So that was a big influence starting off. The Loggins and Messina stuff with the Stratocaster sound. Gosh, anybody who was a good guitar player, I was intrigued by it.
I'm going back in time, and I apologize if I'm going too far back. But you know, when did you compose your first song?
Well, I suppose I was probably a sophomore in high school when I actually played my first song for anybody. I had two friends, one that played saxophone and some piano, another one that played guitar and piano. And we got together and we would play Beatles songs. That's another huge influence. I mean, you can't be from that era and not be influenced by the Beatles. And so my first songs were awful. I'd never played them for anybody else. But that's the way it works. You do it till you get better at it, hopefully. Hopefully.
Well, you got to start sometime, and starting in your teenage years as a songwriter just paves the way. It really does. I mean, back to Texas for a second. You mentioned swing bands, right? And I understand from your answer that you probably went out with your parents on the gigs, or they exposed you to the music somehow. Do you see swing bands in your style at all? Or have you written music that maybe has a swing element to it?
I have a CD called Sandbar Serenade, my third CD. That Sandbar Serenade I wrote and recorded when I was living in Cayman. And it's very Texas two-step. And that's really the only one but I've done some other that lean a little bit country. And so my parents would just go out to dinner at an outdoor place, and next thing you know, there'd be a band, and I'd be listening to the band and be totally taken with it. Very cool.
It is. Talk to me about, I mean, you're a pioneer of Trop rock. Talk to me about some of the other early pioneers that, you looked up to or maybe associated with or toured with.
Well, the number one guy that I've worked with the most over the years would be Jim Morris. And I met Jim in 2000 at the Meeting of the Minds. And we got thrown on the big stage at the Casa Marina together because Alex Leist, who was running it at that time, said, "You guys would be good together. Why don't you get on the stage?" And so we talked for maybe a half hour, and we didn't play a note until we got on stage, but we talked about influences and people we liked. And as soon as Jim started singing his songs, I was sold, because he was a very brilliant songwriter with his own particular voice. Nobody else writes songs like he did. And he was a huge Jerry Jeff Walker fan, going back to the Texas music thing. And again, that goes back to songwriters and individual songs. He was a big Jerry Jeff fan, and Guy Clark. And so we had that in common. But I've worked with, Kelly McGuire is probably my oldest friend. I met him when I was still living in Grand Cayman. In fact, I'll tell you, he came to one of my gigs in Houston, and he asked if he could play on my break. So I gave Kelly a start. Love that. And so let's see, Kelly, Jerry Diaz, another pioneer from out in California, Rob Mell. I didn't meet Rob until a bit later, but Jerry Gontang. There was a whole bunch of people. Eric Stone. I don't know if you familiar with Eric Stone?
A little bit.
He's kind of paved his own way and does his own thing. Again, a prolific and very good songwriter. So those guys were the start of it. And then through just constant traveling for the last 22 years, I've pretty much met most of whoever plays in the Trop Rock these days. There's a whole younger crowd that's coming in that I need to get to know better. And I'm lucky that I get to host the Music on the Bay event in Tampa in March. And we have a lot of new blood that comes through there every year. So I get to meet people, which is just great.
So, I mean, you mentioned you were in the Cayman Islands, and through your history, you were at the Grand Cayman Hyatt for 11 years as the artist in residence. Why did you leave there and move back? I think you moved from there back to West Florida. Why did that end?
Well, we came back. I have daughters who are 27 now that needed to be in a better school than was available in Grand Cayman. We had them enrolled in a private school there, and it was A, very, very expensive, and B, they still needed better than that. They were reading at a ninth grade level in fourth grade, so they were ready to go. And we did move back to the States, back to South Texas with my wife's family, which turned out to be a really good move, so the kids could get to know extended family and especially grandparents, and the grandparents could be around them, because my girls were 8 when we left. But that's why we left, was for education for them and to be back in our own country. When you're a guest in someone else's country, you work under a work permit, and I could only be employed by the Hyatt. I couldn't do outside gigs. I couldn't do private parties. And I was missing performing with other people, which is why as soon as I got to Key West in '88, I started doing the Blue Heaven Sunday up on the water tower there and inviting these people that I had met all around the country to come up and sing some songs, just to have some musical fellowship, because I was all by myself at the Hyatt.
Well, you mentioned you were all by yourself 11 years. Was that a weekly gig? Were you there?
Daily. For the first
You're there daily.
years, I was 6 days a week. I'd do 2 hours in the afternoon at the pool bar, and then 3 hours at night in one of the restaurants there.
Wow. And that lasted more than a decade. That's
Great.
that can take its toll, huh? But
It was a good learning experience. First of all, I was a new dad, so I had plenty of time to spend with my kids, and that was the most important thing. And second of all, I was scuba diving and sailing and learning about making music. I had my own studio and learned about doing the MIDI sequencing and all that kind of stuff. So my story goes, when I first started, I was acoustic guitar 5 hours a day. And after about a year of that, I was ready to try something different. So I bought a little drum machine and made some little percussion backup tracks. And that kept me interested for about 6 more months. And then I bought a keyboard that I could record backup tracks on. And that got me started in studio production, and I could, flesh out my own songs, and it was really good. So I learned a lot. It was a good woodshedding experience.
well, that's cool. I was building a deck landing for my wife last week, and that's always a good thing for men to do, is some type of physical labor around the house. But I was listening to some of your songs on YouTube while I was building, and some of them talk about heartbreak. They talk about women. They talk about the inherent challenges of both, as a musician, and as a father, as a husband. Do you want to talk about your significant other? It's always a good idea to ask that question.
I hit the jackpot when I met my wife, Adela. She was supportive from the very first day of me having a career, a life in music. And luckily for me, she has a news background, a PR background. Actually, television news was her thing in Houston. And she got burned out on that and moved to Grand Cayman. And we met, oh my gosh, it's going to be 32 years ago next week on her birthday, which is October 6th, which is great because now I can never forget her birthday or the day we met. So she helps out with our live shows. She kind of runs the camera switcher, and she has a huge amount of merchandising at sunyjim.com on shop. When you click there, she has a shop called Simply Sunny, and she's just been great with that. She helps with the booking, and because when you're traveling all the time, keeping track of bill pays and taxes and all that stuff gets complicated if you're on the road. So she's handled all that, and it works well for both of us. She's glad to see me go.
That's awesome to have that in your life and that support. I can tell the love is there. You know, let's talk about your music a little bit more. You know, when you look at all 11 albums, you know, as a catalog, as a collection, reflecting who you are, because when you write your own songs, it's really a reflection of your own stories and who you are. What album signifies your life, yourself, the most?
You know, I might say that would be the Sandbar Serenade CD because it captured a lot of things that was going on that were life changing for me. Being in the Caribbean was one of those things. Let's see, there's the Sandbar Serenade song. I had a little sailboat we used to take out at night and take tiki torches and go to a place called the Sandbar. One of my very best friends in life, Captain Phil Jones, I wrote a song on there called Splendid Adventurer. And
Love it.
Phil and I have gone back to 1988. I was one of the first people I met the very first day I was in Grand Cayman. And so there's so much was encompassed there that's a pretty good photograph, if you will, of my life, at least at that time.
That's cool. The band I'm in, the Island Castaways band, we cover Splendid Adventure, and it's always the favorite when it comes up on the set list for me. I love playing that song. Hey, listen, you obviously use studio musicians. Talk to me about a couple of the more longer-term musicians you play with, and obviously this is a drummer-oriented show. Some of your drummers over the years.
Well, I have some bad news for you. I'm trying to think. I think most of my drums, you might want to take off your headset for just a minute because most of my drums are MIDI drums that I have worked up, and you know, it's a painstaking process. It's just been because of when and where I was. I think John Patty has played drums for me on an album, but really going back to think about that, I don't think I've had drummers, and I you know, it's just the way that life has come at me. I had a band for a while.
Oh, you did? What was the name of? What was the band about?
And that the drummer in that band was Paul Brandon, was his name, but he may have played on a couple of songs. So
hey, don't feel bad because on this show, I'm interviewing singer-songwriters in the trop rock genre. That's a very common answer because a lot of you guys and gals are playing out solo or as duets, and you need to have that backing track, and you need to be able to manipulate it for your different audiences. So I get it. I don't take offense.
it was born of necessity for me. When I was at the Hyatt there, I didn't have anybody else, and so that was one thing I learned how to do. And it is a challenge to think like a drummer. Anytime you're doing backup tracks, you have to think like a trumpet player or a sax player, and so it's a good challenge. But then when I had the band for a while, it was fun. But with the band, it was so hard to make a living because you're paying those guys, you're paying for 3 hotel rooms, travel expenses. It's just really tough. There's not that many, especially doing original music. So after about 5 years, and most of my guys were part-timers, but it just wasn't working financially. So that was the.
I get it. You've done well for yourself with your recipe and your style. So, so I read that you were in a famous movie, The Firm, which I've seen a few times. I have to ask the question because Joe Howell, my band leader, told me to ask it. Tell me about that experience, that cameo role.
Well, I was doing my pool bar thing at the Hyatt when the director, Sidney Pollack, was there looking at locations and making notes about everything and deciding how he wanted to shoot. and he would come in every afternoon and have a cigar or two and a couple of martinis, and we got to be friendly. He was a really nice guy. So a couple of weeks before they came down, maybe a month before, I got a call from the music director in California saying, "Can you send us a couple of your songs? Mr. Pollock wants to know if you'd like to be in the movie." And I was like, I'm going to be in the movie. So I sent them a couple of songs, and they chose one that I'd written called "Blame It on the Rum." And it worked great for the scene. Go back and look at it. It's the pool bar scene where Gene Triplehorn drugs Gene Hackman's drink. And there's really not much screen time for me. They use a chorus of the song in the film, and I'm on screen for 4 or 5 seconds. But it was really fun, and I've had old friends reconnect with me because they've seen that. And it's just a really fun thing to do. For a while, I thought I was going to the Academy Awards. They told me to be sure and enter. And as it turns out, because they didn't use enough of my song to move the plot along or whatever, I didn't get to go to the Academy Awards.
Oh, that's not right.
No, I agree.
Sorry to hear that, but I mean, that's pretty major. Do you get any royalties from that cameo?
Every time you see that, I probably make 2 cents or something. For me around the world over these last almost 25 years.
Nice. Well, I mean, it's something. It's almost like music on Spotify today, but
Yeah.
all right, let's move on. Describe for me your personal style as a guitarist and songwriter. How would you tell somebody that you don't know what your style is on the guitar in terms of your musicianship and your approach to songwriting? Are you do you write lyrics first before the riff, or is it a combination of the two, and what's your approach?
Well, songwriting comes from every different angle. I can wake up in the middle of the night and have 4 lines in my head or a melody in my head, and I have to jump up and sing it into the phone or, write it down somewhere, or it goes away. And like many songwriters, I have a huge file full of ideas and lyrics, and when it's time to be creative, I'll sit down with that and I'll go through that and see what develops. I'll work on stuff. It's like doing a painting. You do a little here and a little there, and over time it comes up. As far as being a guitar player, I think of the best lessons I ever learned were playing in a band that I had in Northern California. That the drummer, Andy Arrow was his name, and he just reminded me to be supportive. It's not playing all the time. The silence in between the parts of the song are as important as the music parts. And so I try and play less and be melodic when I am playing a lead. I'm not a fast guitar player, so I just kind of chug along, but I try and play melodic parts that support either the vocal or the melody or whatever's going on. So.
Well, I mean, the tracks I've listened to and played along to, I mean, there's a ton of melody and harmonization going on. It's pretty incredible what you come up with. You got let's jump ships here. You got a couple of Facebook Live type shows going on. You referenced one of them earlier, and then you have one tomorrow. What's the one tomorrow about?
Well, over the years in Grand Cayman, as well as here, I've had a steady gig here on Siesta Key in Sarasota for almost 20 years now, a Tuesday night gig, and I've met people from all over the world there. In fact, I'm huge in Iceland. I just want to let you know. They play me on the national radio there. So a lot of people that would like to hear me, that I would like to stay in touch with, are on different time zones. So I do a 2 o'clock Friday afternoon for my European fans. And it doesn't hurt that I have a younger sister who's been in Sweden for 30 years. So it's a way for us to stay in touch. And she and her kids as well. So that originally started out as being for my European fans. And it's amazing how many people from the States turn out, and we kick off the weekend, and it's always fun, and we try and do all requests. So that one's different from the Wednesday night, 7:30 Eastern, that I do with John Patty. And that one, we do take requests, but that one is a little more what we feel like. And we have a running joke. We scurry and get everything set up in the studio. We eat a little dinner, and then just as we're about to go live, it's, okay, what's the first song? And John and I have worked together so much that we're very intuitive with each other, and we'll both think of the next song to play while we're in the middle of a song. And it's that's the way it should be, playing music. And so our Wednesday nights are that way. It's just kind of off the cuff, and we have a lot of fun doing it. And things have kind of morphed in this cantina where if you say the name, you have to have a shot of tequila. A neighbor brought us a bottle of tequila one night, and it just took off. So, been very.
Well, yeah. I mean, you used to play steel drums way back. What attracted you? Like, how did you develop the partnership with John? And what stood out in terms of his steel drum playing?
Well, John played steel drums and percussion and drums sometimes with Jim Morris. And I had met John, get this, when he was 15 years old in Key West in 2000. The same year I met Jim was the first year that John went down there. So I had known him, and I heard him play with Ramajay Intercoastal, Tall Paul, and Quincy, and Matt Hall at the time. And Paul's another one, is a pioneer that I've known, Paul and Quincy both, that I've known 20 years. And so John and I knew each other. He moved down here, like I say, probably 10 years, no, probably been more like 12 years ago now, and played with Jim's band. And I played guitar sometimes with Jim's band. I played steel drum. I played bass. I played keyboards with his band. If he gets stuck and I'm open, I would get the call. And I've recorded on a lot of his CDs too. But so I just knew John from performing together. And we both happened to be in Seattle the weekend that Jim had his massive aneurysm and passed away. And, you know, you don't go through all those kind of things without developing a very close friendship. And so it was a natural. He was no longer working for Jim, and he and Jimmy Pappas were doing a lot of things together. But Jimmy lives in Orlando, 2 hours from where we are. So it was kind of a natural for John and I to gravitate together. We love the same kind of Caribbean stuff too.
That's cool. It's cool to learn that he's not only a master steel drum player, but he also plays, you know, the percussion and the drum kit. That's pretty neat.
He went to school in West Virginia and studied the steel drums, and he's great at any of those. I love when he brings the bongos out because he plays them right. You know, he's just great here.
So my final question to you, and you've been a great guest. I really am psyched and honored that you've been on the show with me. What advice do you have for young, aspiring songwriters? You know, these are the kids that just graduated, like John did years ago with, you know, a steel drum percussion degree from music school, or are just slinging a guitar across their backs and hitting the road with a band or solo.
Well, my advice to everyone is always sing. Don't say, I'm just a guitar player. That's rule number one. The other thing is, listen to the people that you like and analyze the crap out of why you like their songs, why you like their music. And when you're writing, it doesn't hurt to write a Jimmy Buffett song and try and sound like Jimmy Buffett, because much like painters do, they study the masters and they copy the paintings to learn what it was that those master painters did that made them so good. And the third thing is, don't be critical of your writing until you finish the song, and then go back and be merciless. I hear a lot of stuff that it just makes me cringe because there's no depth to the writing. It's you know, what Jim and I used to call a coconut Pete syndrome, where it's just rhymey about this, you know, you don't have to use palm tree in every word, and drinking rum and relaxing, because so many of those songs have been written. That doesn't mean you won't write a great one every once in a while, but listen to what you write and be critical of it, but after you're finished. You know, you got to write it all out and then go back and polish it.
That's an interesting point. I call it the popification of trop rock. Do you think, here's a controversial question, do you think the more pop-oriented country artists have anything to do with that?
Well, there's certainly a huge country influence going on and has been going on for the last 10 years. And, you know, music changes all the time. Because of my Texas roots and my love of the Texas songwriters from Lyle Lovett and Guy Clark and Townes Van Zandt and, you know, all those people, I may have a country album in me, but my heart lies in the Caribbean. And John and I have talked about this. We'd love to do a kind of a jazz, but very Caribbean storytelling and with Caribbean beats and influences and a lot of steel drum. So that's probably what's going to happen for me. But, you know, as I approach each project, it's a blank slate. I have ideas in my head for a country album, a blues album. I did my Flotsam and Jetsam album was mainly acoustic guitar driven, and that's what I'm, you know, I may do another one of those. But you were talking about doing a porch project for your wife. I just finished about almost 4 months of replacing the fence around my house and building a pergola, and just yesterday finishing this pergola and the pavers underneath it in my backyard. So that's done. I'm going back to music now, and I'm so ready for it. So thank you for getting me. I had some issues this morning with the studio here, trying to get you some songs to play drums to. I can't wait to hear what you've done.
Well, thanks, and it's been great to have you on the show. As a segue for anyone watching, and of course we're going to rebroadcast this. We kicked this out to all the Trop Rock Facebook pages and Finn's clubs that I'm a member of, and so if you missed the live, this will be replayed again several times. But there's another half of my show, and I split it for a variety of reasons, that I have the opportunity and the challenge to play along to my guest songs. Jim did me the big favor of taking all his drums out of his songs and sending me his songs with no drums on them and no click track. And so I hope I do a good job with them. It really was awesome to play along to them. Are they perfect? No. But it was a double challenge for me because I try to not practice the songs before I play them each week. I just give them a listen. But it's been great to have you on, Jim. We hope to see you down at Music on the Bay, and we wish you best of luck and health getting through this interesting time in our nation's history.
You too. Stay safe. And again, the songs that I sent you this morning were not the ones that I had hoped to find, but everything is in such disarray in my audio recording studio that it was fun for me because it was it's like you and I were jamming just at different times, different places.
It was cool because you emailed me a song, then I recorded it, finished that, then next email showed up, recorded that. So it really was the pressure was on. I will tell you, Jim, before I sign off, thank you again, that I added Splendid Adventurer to my recording because I absolutely love playing that song with the Island Castaways band. You just ask them. It's the song that really picks me up in any set. So thanks for being on. We'll see you down the road.
Thanks for having us, Tim. See ya.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. You're back at the second segment of my show, Tiki Tim's Trop Rock Tributes. Obviously, this show is dedicated to singer-songwriters, guitarists, keyboardists in the trop rock genre, all around our great country and beyond. And of course, we have Suny Jim or Suny James White on our previous segment of this show this week in a special Q&A. And it was such an honor to be able to interview Jim. And we talked beforehand on the phone about a couple of things, and obviously one of them is I challenge myself every single week to play along to my guests' songs. I ask them to actually select songs for me, and if they don't want to do that, then I go in and find them. This week is an extra challenge from Mr. White thanks, Sonny, for this. He actually went ahead and removed all the drum tracks except the very intros to his songs. And so I'm actually creating my own interpretation of his songs on the fly. And the challenge each week is I don't have time to practice along to these. I don't make time. That's the challenge. I will listen to them once or twice. And literally, Sonny sent me these tracks this morning. And so I haven't had a chance. Hopefully I do a good job. The only thing I've had a chance to do is do a brief sound check to make sure the mix is as good as possible. Of course, we have to play Sonny's music through my PA and then record it along with my drums through a digital interface. And that's the way we were able to not have lag and get a decent sound. Anyway, the technical stuff out of the way. I think I have this set up right. I will pause between songs. I'm not sure what Zoom does when you pause a recording, but I'm pausing because I'm literally waiting on songs to come in. And there's the challenge. So thanks, Sonny. Hopefully I do a good job on these 3 awesome tunes of yours. You're the man.
I met her on the beach just as the sun was going down. I invited her to stage. She said I'd love to stick around. We talked about the day. We both thought about the night. She said she had the weekend and an early Monday flight. Steel band music playing in the background, soft and low. Dancers were all swaying and the rum began to flow. Work brought her to the island, but her working week was done. Now she said I'm ready for some work-related fun. I'm working down here, she said. And she flashed a little smile and shook her pretty head. Said I'm working on my tan, I'm working on a buzz, and I'm working on a little thing between the 2 of us. So order up some rum drinks, don't leave me here alone, 'cause I'm working on a story for my friends when I get home. I'm working down here, she said. I'm working down here, she said. She said I like how bright the stars are once the sun has finally set. Those city lights at home make that so easy to forget. The air here is so fresh, it really makes me feel alive. I've been walking everywhere down here
All right. Sorry about the ending, Jim. So that's challenging to play drums removed on a song I really haven't heard before. Of course, that's in perfect time as well, so that's studio metronome tempo. I did all right on it. I mean, that's a great drum part. Whoever the drummer was on that did an awesome job. And that's, of course, a traditional kind of train beat, country train beat, which is snare drum driven. A lot of fun to play. What I particularly like about that tune and what the drummer did on it, what Jim's drummer did, is he was playing doubles on the foot. So he's like, which really kind of echoes a more traditional like samba pattern. So thanks for letting me play that, and I'm going to pause real quick and see if the next song that Jim sends is literally in my email. So stand by. My band that I'm in with Joe and Paul, the Island Castaways band, we play and covered this song, and it's always goes over so well, particularly with our Trop rock friends. Splendid Adventure. It's one of my favorite songs. Here we go.
Said
Oh, Sonny, you're a great songwriter. That's a great song. I love that song. All right. I got Blackbird's Navy next with Suny Jim.
Some kids say they'll run away and join up with the circus, but the big top never did appeal to me. I knew my landlocked small town white bread life held another purpose, so I made a vow that one day I'd break free. And then I wrote a letter to my mama, and I told her not to cry, but I needed an adventure, or I surely would go crazy. And I would be a good boy and be back by and by. And I ran away to join up with Blackbeard's Navy. Across the blue horizon until we fall off of the world, or we meet with Davy Jones below the sea. Man the cannons, clear the decks, send a lookout up above. Pirate boy who sailed in Blackbeard's Navy. From my treetop crow's nest, I can see a schooner in the dawn. Hoist the bedsheet main, and we'll chase that treasure down. Rope swing aboard the boat, and the battle rages on. Although a cardboard cutlass hardly makes a sound. The little pirate was a wild man, carrying the day. Through the burning rigging, my memories, they're quite hazy. I do recall a legend, he was made captain, and they say, the little pirate boy who sailed in Blackbeard's Navy. Across the blue horizon until we fall off of the world, or we meet with Davy Jones below the sea. Man the cannons, clear the decks, send a lookout up above. Pirate boy who sailed in Blackbeard's Navy. Well, I've seen hurricanes and I've seen stranger things in many years at sea. I've seen ghost ships sailing silently along. I've had cannibals and pirate queens both chasing after me. Those things that do not kill us, they make us strong. Lessons learned by living in a world of make-believe. I was strengthened by the spirit that it gave me. The man who's been around this world and sailed the seven seas was once the pirate boy who sailed in Blackbeard's Navy.
Blackbird's Navy. Never played that before. Great. What a great, fun song to play. Thanks, Sonny. Again, I just got that song 5 minutes ago, and Sonny did me the big favor and the big challenge of removing the drums, and that's my challenge, is to play really perfect time, or near perfect time. And the final song I get to play that he pre-selected without my knowledge is called Shame and Scandal.
Now in Trinidad there was a family with much confusion, as you will see. A mama and a papa, a boy who was grown, wanted to marry, have a wife of his own. He found a young girl, she suited him nice, so he went to his papa to ask his advice. But the papa says, son, I must say no, the girl is your sister, but your mama don't know. Oh, is me. Shame and scandal in their family. A war is me. Shame and scandal in that family. I say woe is me. Shame and scandal. So then a month goes by until summer come round. Soon the best cook in the island he found. He went to his papa to name the big day, but the papa shook his head. To him he did say, son, you can't marry that girl. I must say no. The girl, she's your auntie, but your granny don't know. Is me. Shame and scandal in their family. Hey now, woe is me. Shame and scandal in that family. Shame and scandal. To his mama, and he covered his head when he told his mama what his papa had said. Mama, she just laughed. She said, go man, go. Your daddy ain't your daddy, but your daddy don't know. Woe is me. Shame and scandal in their family. Woe is me. Shame and scandal in that family. Woe is me. Shame and scandal, shame and scandal, shame and scandal in their family.
Shika-daka-daka-daka-daka-daka-da. Shika-daka-daka-daka-daka-da. Shika-daka-daka-daka-daka-da. Shika-daka-daka-daka-daka-da.
Tired of the sunset blues. Rainy kiss at the bookstore cafe. That's when I knew you were for me. You want a lover that doesn't leave you stray. Well, baby, I'll make you a believer down by the bay. I'm shedding this shell for a new way. So let's launch the dove and make love, renew an old romance, and let's dance. Loving the sunset moons, that's where I met you. No more regret or losing bets. You're my queen without the mean. Stroll the beach at night to find a hidden wave. Time will only tell if we got love to save. Sails are blowing in the west winds out on the outer cave. Can't you hear me calling? Can't you hear me calling? Can't you hear me calling? Oh. Instead of the sunset blues, now I'm loving the sunset dunes with you. With you.
Yeah.